It's February 15th, 2024. Um, at Washington, ONE, In God We Trust, with the flag. Um, and then there's the White House on the back of the other legal tender. Um, Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I turned on the television, um, and right behind the reporter was this heart, and it says "Never give up." And I'm thinking of the Priory, like, if such a thing, like, I know it exists, but I'm just their well-being, um, at ministry in the In God We Trust. Um, and then Lewis comes up this morning, and we go to this restaurant that's local. Here's the update in the local area. Um, and there's been some kind of population change. Weird things that happened just prior to it, like shifting, was JC 28, which is what I call him in the field. I call him something else. He gave me a different name. I just tagged him differently. Has this weird meeting. I thought I was going to get, like, I thought he wanted me to actually have an office job. Says something about a moving company, and then I never heard from him ever again. Um, I don't really know what that means. I'm sure the ONE knows what it means, and the In God We Trust knows what it means, because that's their job. But for me, just like here, I don't. And then last night, there used to be this Italian restaurant that we used to go to that closed, and then they reopened under a different name, and the people are not Italian. Lewis took us there for Valentine's Day, and asked the waitress, like the maitre d', like, they're from Bolivia. That's South America. And I'm like, and they have on the billboard, like on the TV on the wall, they're advertising. They have like their patrons and whatever. And I'm looking, they don't even look familial. And there was, for me, no warning. Telling me you're opening a moving company, I have no idea what that means. That's not, I mean, that's some shitty game. Like somebody's trying to take a dump in New York City. That's what that feels like. Face to face, like in for real. Um, for my generation, because the guy who told it to me was born in 74. I'm a 78. So Lewis comes to me this morning, and he has this contact that he speaks to who is like high scientific academic, goes by the name of Hoffman. He knows one Don Hoffman. I knew a different Don Hoffman. Um, and so they're having this conversation with Lewis, about the universe, and like asking him philosophical, whatever. And I'm listening to my father, and like I zone in and zone out. Like, this is my dimension. I zone in, I zone out, um because of what's going on, and of course the sunlight being whatever it is, and that's really what my main concern is here, for Priory, and genetic anomaly in the system, in the monetary system. um and like, how do we appropriate assets? Like, are these our trained assets? Are these the naturally occurring assets? How do you qualify an asset? So anyhow, in the whatever category of somebody I met once went to a far superior school. Nobody was challenging him on his white privilege. I certainly wasn't. But here I am in this really shitty situation, literally and figuratively. Um, and my life took a turn for the worst, if his like master sergeant or master chief wants to know. Um, so anyhow, so they're talking. So this physicist is speaking to Lewis philosophically and trying to define God and whatever. And I'm just sitting there like, right. I mean, for me, so Lewis is talking to me and like, I get it. And I say to him, I'm like, listen, you and I are worlds apart on this. I was like, in the master machine, we just aren't the same. I said, you were created male. You have male cosmic seed. I was like, and your position amongst the rest of the stardust is different than mine. I am a female machine. I create another body machina, another point in time and space. So my journey is different than your journey. And then the interdimensional relationship and relativity changes and works through time and space as things go on. But if we're theoretically in a sphere together, because we're having this conversation, I was like, my wired in and plugged in position has moved by like polarity from where I originated with you before children. So what you get and what you understand consciously is warped by time and space. I was like, second to that is the fact of when I arrived as your daughter in that one moment in time, if there's a freeze frame of what was going on around the world that somebody could study in a forensics, and then what one of the Tillis was moved, like some kind of strategy. um I was like, I feel, Lewis, like I was locked in a cage and they set the house on fire around me. I was like, and the universe, if it has intelligent design, that means that there's some kind of strategy. That means that the strategist is the problem because they left me to burn in a cage in the house. And that's unacceptable at like the people that actually care about this and do this for a living. Um, I was like, um, so then he went on, he was challenging me, and I was just not having it because I was like, you are at a different point in time to be having this conversation. There is no challenging me at this point. I'm halfway through my life, and Alexander still has a full life ahead of him. And what's going on at, I was like, and you have to remember, Lewis, you look at the world from a one perspective, and then there's this higher denomination. I was like, I know there's a higher power, and I know I'm only one. And I know that time and space has been warped by strategy around me. And now the Polish, German, Irish, it was a big Irish community around here. And then my father being like the Italian that doesn't look like the Italian. Um, and then it became Korean and Asian. And now it's something, we went to the restaurant, they said Bolivian. They look something Afghanish, Afghanistanish. They don't look American at all. So it's confusing how this is going on in my life frame, knowing that priory exists, knowing that the internal ministry exists, knowing that I exist in a circulated currency of Jackson for Jack of all trades and Washington. So, amongst others. Um, so I had to have that conversation with him about relativity within like a, and I don't even know if I want to use the word cosmic anymore because I don't know who thinks they own the strategy for cosmic. I don't even know if that word's a problem. Should I go asteroid? Like if if the two richest men in the world in North America that I was made aware of, if and only if for this one theoretical, if it was Astor and Rockefeller, if and only if the two of them got in a fight, would any of the rest of the children of the garden survive? I mean, if they're having like some master strategy session for whatever reason, I mean, like, shouldn't they at some point, if the level gets to like critical, shouldn't they join forces as the two like opposing evil figures of like the richest men in the world? I mean, for me, I think of them like they're my two protectors of the monopoly and of the internal workings of the most sacred. I mean, I think of the men of my area much differently than like Tiafrio, which is why I say he's an insult to my intelligence. And Romer was just a fucking moron, just to be crystal clear. Um, so, like, if the fate of the world hung in balance, do I trust either of the men? No. I trust my father more, but sometimes I listen to him speak, and I'm like, from where I am in understanding and watching things and where you are, we're in two different worlds or two different realms at this, like again, are we in the same realm? I don't know. Are we in the same, like, I don't know how to answer those questions. I mean, again, that would be Priory directly answering on my behalf, but even that frightens me because are they trying to kill me? Are they trying to help me? Like, I don't even know at this point. um I don't know how dirty this game has gotten for them. So I woke up this morning and on the television there was some big shooting at some Chiefs celebration. I can't even watch it, and I'm sickened by it. But it, again, the people that keep broadcasting in like my Priory's like sacred airspace is some unknown population. I'm like, they're not even American. Like, federal note, like reserve note American. Um, so like that struggle for airtime, it seems to be like a big concern. So I'm focusing on the local power authority, the local telephone company. I took photos of it. I took photos of the money in circulation, and I put the seal for the FBI on my Facebook page. And I don't know how else to call in a concern if like it transitioned from Long Island Power Authority at some point, but there was no talking to us. Like, I have RH sensitivity blood. Why was there nobody sent out to the field to have an intellectual conversation with me? Like, is this how like the privileged treat their own like blood? I mean, that really seems, I don't know. It just it doesn't add up in like the amount of, like, don't you take care of your own at some point? It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And then I also wrote to the In God We Trust yesterday about this feeling of like if somebody was trying to buy on the dark web like a market or a target market, because all the target marketing in New York has changed. Like the face of the model has changed. So for me, at model agency, it's a concern. It's a red flag for me. Um, because the models no longer look priory, like priory correct. They look like some foreign nationals market has broken in to our model and is now trying to upstage us in voice and microphone and direction for theater direction. I mean, like, again, like, if I have the humble, like, I have the if I have the privilege of speaking to my most elite trained in my military that I rely on for safety. And I mean, again, like, why aren't the children that are being born here, why aren't they being given top priority in the military to join, to be educated and whatnot? I mean, like, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Um, so the only people who try to break up monopolies are those trying to break down power, but then that's self-defeatist. Because at some point they break down so much that you're left with nothing, and then you're left with a vulnerable spot. I mean, like, it's a simple conversation with a simple woman. I don't understand what's so complicated about it. Why can't anyone get their part right? It's like I've just been thrown out. I feel like in, like, the wastewater, and just expected to act normal amongst complete buffoons and idiots. And I don't agree with any of them. Never have. And I don't know where to find people like myself.